Hello people, I hope everyone's doing well. Okay, I'm back with this video. This video is going to be FA Cup related. I've got a couple of preview videos to do over the next little while. So this is the first one. It's going to be my predictions for the FA Cup third round ties that are going to be played over the weekend, starting with tonight's game, going all the way up till Sunday. I think there's a game on Monday as well. But I'm going to take you through my predictions for all of these games. I can actually be unbiased in this with now my side no longer in the FA Cup. I can be a lot more unbiased and, look at it fairly, look at each game fairly and go which way that I think is going to happen. So we're going to crack on with this. So this is the FA Cup preview, not preview, but this is the FA Cup predictions of what I'm saying for round 3. The first game happens tonight, so you know what day it's going to be. Going to be tonight between Crystal Palace and Everton. So on Friday and Thursday night. It's usually a Friday, but they moved to a Thursday night. And it's Palace up against Everton, so it's an all Premier League battle. Palace under Roy Hodgson, they're battling away in the Premier League. They're never really a big... they never exactly do great, but they're always between 12th and 14th for some reason. Palace are just able to do the business, and they're taking on Sean Dyche's Everton, who have just took a dip over the Christmas period. You gotta say that there's always some grit about Everton. There is now, anyway. I mean, they've recovered from the 10-point deduction they had at the in around about November time. So they've bounced back from that. They're struggling still at the bottom, but I think they're coming out the right end of it. This is a difficult game. This to me has no, there's no replays, is there? So I think they've took the replays away. So I'm going to fancy Everton for this because this is a very difficult game. This is a game that if replays were still there, you'd say replay. But I'm going to go narrowly Everton. I'm going to go Crystal Palace 1, Everton 2. I think Michael Elise is back for Crystal Palace. No, he's not, is he? I believe he is. But if not, I still think Everton will just have enough to get past Crystal Palace. So my prediction is Crystal Palace 1, Everton 2. A very tough game to start that with. Tomorrow there's 3 games, which will start with Brentford up against Wolves. Now, Wolves are absolutely flying at the moment. Absolutely flying under Gary O'Neill. And he's doing an absolutely fantastic job. Brentford and Daniel Farke struggling in the Premier League, and it seems like the confidence has gone. I know hopefully they've got the returning Ivan Toney, and they're going to try desperately to try and keep hold of Ivan. This is a big game for Brentford, I think. I think Brentford need to get a result, just to kickstart their season, I think, because they are kind of wallowing around a little bit, and they could, if they're not careful, they could end up being suckered in if things don't go right, getting sucked into a relegation battle. Hopefully not, but I'm going to go for a narrow Wolves win on this one. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win for Wolves over Brentford. I think Wolves are just flying at the minute. They're flying, they feel confident, but anything can happen in the FA Cup. So I'm saying Brentford 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 2 for me. Also tomorrow we have Fulham as they host Championship Rotherham. Now Rotherham are having a tough season so far. I always class these as the yo-yo club of the Championship, and they are really. What one they're able to do like a season or two in the Championship, and then also do a season or so in League One. They're always sort of yo-yoing. So, it's kind of like quite a interesting game as to which way this is going to go. And you've got to fancy Fulham at Craven Cottage. You really do. I know we want the power of the FA Cup, but you would say Fulham will have enough to just... I mean, Fulham are, they're 13th in the Premier League. Rotherham are scrambling around the bottom, but they have got some fight. But I fancy at home Fulham to just do enough over Rotherham. I'm actually going to go for a 3-1 win for Fulham at home. So look at me being very obvious, as people would call me at the moment. But I think a comfortable win over Fulham for Rotherham, as like I said, 3-1. Next, another all Premier League tie between Tottenham Hotspur and Burnley. Tottenham are going to want a cup run, and I think they're going to fancy so they can probably win this FA Cup. But obviously they will be without Son Heung-min, who has gone to the Asia Cup, so he will not be available for them. Against Burnley, and Vincent Kompany is, having a difficult time at Burnley in the league, which you would expect. Tottenham are 5th, so they're definitely having a good season, but they've kind of, I don't want to say stagnated, but they've kind of plateaued at the minute. And obviously Burnley are second bottom, but this is a cup game. League form doesn't really matter. It could go either way, really. So I'm going to say for this one, it's an 8 o'clock kick-off this. I fancy Spurs to win this, probably 4-1 against Burnley. Again, away I probably may have looked at it differently, but I think Spurs to comfortably get past Burnley on Friday for that one. So now we'll go on to Saturday's games. There's a lot more games on this, let me tell you that. We'll start with AFC Wimbledon as they host Ipswich Town. Now Wimbledon have actually been having a cracking season in League Two, and Ipswich aren't going to really want to be going to Wimbledon. That's going to be a difficult game for them. I think this could go to penalties, I really do. But Can I see an upset being caused here? Yes, I can actually. I can see an upset being caused here. I'm going to go for a Wimbledon win, weirdly enough. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Wimbledon win. Because I think that, everyone's going to look and think, well, Ipswich, it's an early game. I think Wimbledon are strong at home. Ipswich aren't going to want to go to a team like this. So I'm going to go for my first upset of the FA Cup will come in that early one, as Wimbledon will beat Ipswich, and I'm saying by 2-1. Next, Coventry City host Oxford United. Oxford United obviously beating Grimsby Town in the last round. Coventry City, it's their first game. Oxford's not going to be an easy game for Coventry to play, that is for sure. Obviously, though, Mark Robbins still works wonders at Coventry. There's no, got a lot of time for Mark Robbins and Des Hamilton, who's in charge of Oxford United. This is going to be a tough tie for Oxford, but they'll also look at it as though this could be, the ties could have been worse. So. This is a tricky one. This is a tricky one. I'm going to give this one a draw, actually. So I think over 90 minutes, the game will finish level. I'm going to say 2-2, and if penalties, I believe penalties are involved now. I think that Coventry will just get over the line against Oxford. So. Coventry to go through against Oxford on Saturday afternoon. Now here we go to a game that really should be televised, to be honest. Maidstone United hosting Stevenage. You can't now. This is really is FA Cup, isn't it? Maidstone United, National League South. George Elakobi is the manager against Stevenage. Tough game for Stevenage. Again, this could be an upset, but I'm gonna just edge Stevenage over Maidstone. But when I say just, I mean it all depends how Stevenage start. If Stevenage start well, then they will. I think they could run away with it. But the closer that Maidstone can make it, the more difficult Maidstone can make it. Who knows? But I'm actually going to go for a Stevenage win, fairly comfortably, a 3-0 win for them over Maidstone United. Next, we have an old championship affair as Millwall host Leicester. These are also, all these first 4 games are 12:30 kickoffs. And Leicester City are, well, they're flying higher than you could possibly fly in the Championship at the minute. Millwall struggling a little bit in the Championship. Whether Leicester are really going to be taking the FA Cup as seriously as probably the Championship, I don't know. It may be a slightly weaker side than what Leicester would play probably in a league game against Millwall. And obviously the Den is not an easy place to go to at all. So I'm going to go for Millwall to win this. I think it's just on that. I mean, if Leicester played full strength, then no, I'd fancy Leicester. But I'm going to give it to Millwall, and I'm going to say they're going to come away with a 3-2 win over Leicester City. Leicester are my second team through family and area where family's from. So, but I'm going to say Millwall will win that one by 3-2. Now, here's the biggie on Saturday. This next one, Sunderland hosting Newcastle. I am sure it is going to be electric there. Because Sunderland and Newcastle haven't played each other for a few seasons now, so it'll be this will be a difficult game for Eddie Howe's team. Sunderland are very, very solid in the Championship. They're doing quite well. They've just got Michael Beale that's taken over there. You know, this could be an upset because you can tell the Sunderland players are going to be up for this. The fans are going to be up for this. Newcastle aren't in the best of form right now, and this is where the FA Cup can catch teams out. And do you know what? I'm gonna give it to Sunderland. I'm gonna give it to Sunderland, but I'm gonna say a 2-1 win for Sunderland. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be tight. Who knows? But I am gonna go for Sunderland to beat Newcastle 2-1. Should be a great atmosphere. That game is being televised. And if you do get a chance to watch that game, do watch it because it is going to be tackles flying in, I'm sure. Electric atmosphere, it always is up in the northeast. And obviously, it definitely is feisty between those two rivals. And Sunderland are going to want to get one over on Newcastle. Next is Blackburn Rovers hosting Cambridge United. Now, on paper, this one looks like a gimme for Blackburn. But as we know, in the FA Cup, it's never a gimme. But with Sammy Szmodics in the Blackburn lineup, I really can't see an upset here. I'm going to go for a Blackburn Rovers win. I'm going to go keep this one short and sweet, really. Cambridge not really having the best of seasons. I'm going to go for a Blackburn Rovers win, a 3-1 win over Cambridge. The remainder of these, so I'm going to say 3-1 win. And I said the remainder of them are 3 o'clock. No, there is some. It's also going to be 5:30. But Blackburn 3, Cambridge 1. Next, Gillingham up against Sheffield United. Right, Gillingham. I looked at a stat for Gillingham earlier today, and they have only scored 21 league goals this season. Sheffield United, I think, with Chris Wilder, he's bringing in some new vigour to Sheffield United, or revitalised vigour into Sheffield United. Now this is very tricky because at Gillingham, at the Peacefield, it's kind of anything can happen. You know, this could easily be an upset without a shadow of a doubt. I'm not going to say that because I think what will get Sheffield United over the line in this one basically was Chris Wilder's return. Now, you know, he's had an impact in a lot of games for Sheffield United since he's been back. Gillingham need to keep it tight because they do concede goals, but they don't score enough, and that's another reason why I just fancy Sheffield United. Don't worry, there is some upsets predictions that I've got of some games that could easily be upsets. This could be before Chris Wilder was in charge. Not so much now. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 win for Sheffield United against Gillingham. Hull City are next as they host Birmingham City. Now Birmingham have just recently parted ways with Wayne Rooney. Let's be honest, that appointment did not work. I never understood that appointment or agreed with the appointment. No knock on Wayne, I just mean when you sack John Eustace, you're supposed to sack somebody because the next person you get in is supposed to be better. I think and Birmingham have done this once before in their history, especially in my lifetime, and they went on decline after that as well. So it just makes you wonder, you know, you need to assess the whole situation. Yes, you might want your own man in, but look at what the man is actually doing. And Birmingham fans, I think, said when John Eustace did leave, well, we weren't playing the best football. No, they weren't. But at the same time, they were sixth. You know, it smells of when they sacked Guy Rowett. It made absolutely no sense then, and that one made no sense now. And obviously, Wayne's been let go. Whereas you look at Liam Rossini and what he's doing at Hull City, they're going to find this as a winnable game, and so will Birmingham, because they'll feel, you know, it's an all championship team, so, you know, it should be competitive. But I like what Liam Rossini is doing at Hull City. You know, and bringing in Billy Sharp as well, cracking bit of business for Hull City, veteran striker, but he knows definitely where the net is, so that is a cracking bit of business for them. I'm fancying Hull to get the job done quite fairly comfortably, because Birmingham at the moment, they can't stop conceding, can they? I'm fancying Hull to win 3-1 over Birmingham City. Next, now this is where I can see an upset. The next game is Newport County as they host Eastleigh. Eastleigh, I think they're like the non-league side that's really making their way through the back door, really. A non-league side not really being spoke about in non-league terms. Newport, I think if Podrick Hammond sort of plays with the level of how he can, then not Podrick Hammond, sorry, Omar Bogle is what I meant to say. That's my Grimsby head, isn't it? But the Omar Bogle, in fact, plays well. Also, Bryn Morris has a good game as well for Newport, but it's just one of those games that I can see the non-league side getting past the League Two side. Newport aren't as strong this year. At home at Rodney Parade, they're okay. So obviously Eastleigh are going to have to be aware of that. But you know what? I fancy Eastleigh to get this. I really do. I'm going to fancy him to win 1-0 at Newport County. I just see an upset coming there. You know, so I'm going to go Eastleigh. I've got a soft spot for Eastleigh. I'll admit that, but I do fancy him to go to Newport and actually spring a surprise. So I'm saying Newport County 0, Eastleigh 1. Next, we've got Norwich City as they host Bristol Rovers. On paper, this should be an absolute gimme for Norwich. It won't be, I'm almost certain, but you know, it's. I am going to say Norwich to win this because I think that Norwich they're a good side. Not probably doing as well in the Championship as they would have liked. Bristol Rovers obviously have had an up and down season this season. I fancy Norwich to get through this one. Again, it all depends on how the lower league side starts. If they start really well, Rovers, then they will push Norwich. But Norwich have always had this goal scoring knack. And I think that'll carry on. I think they'll win 3-1 against Bristol Rovers. Next, though, Plymouth Argyle against Sutton United. Well, talk about a gulf. You know, Plymouth Argyle, you know, struggling bottom end of Championship. Not totally shocked. I mean, obviously they've recently lost Stephen Schumacher to Stoke. And it's one of these games, isn't it? When you play a team like Sutton, who are struggling in League Two, they've got nothing to lose in this. Absolutely nothing to lose in it. And this, especially after my side did their heroics. Do you know what? I'm gonna go for an upset here. If it goes to penalties, I think Plymouth will get it. But I think I'm gonna go. Do you know what? I'm gonna go for Tim Vine's Sutton United. Do it for League Two, boys. What about that? I think they may get a 3-2 win over Plymouth. We did it last year. Weirdly, our cup run started against Plymouth. Grimsby's cup run started against Plymouth. Can Sutton's continue against Plymouth? I'm going to say yes, because Sutton have got nothing to lose in this game. There's no pressure on Sutton at all, so I'm going to go for a Sutton win, but again, it's all down to how Sutton start, I think, and how they can relay pressure. But yes, I'm going to go for a 3-2 win for Sutton United. Why not? It's the FA Cup. And this is what we all watch the FA Cup for. Queen's Park Rangers host Bournemouth. Queen's Park Rangers, you don't know what you're going to get from them. They should be doing a lot better than they are. I mean, losing Gareth Ainsworth earlier in the campaign, Bournemouth under Areola starting to find their feet really, and the style of play is coming to fruition. This is difficult again, FA Cup, but I can't see past Bournemouth. I really can't. I'm saying a 2-0 win for Bournemouth. I think they will avoid the banana skin. Queen's Park Rangers is a tough place to go, but at the moment they just Elias Chair is their big hope. If he plays well, I think Rangers will play well. But I'm going to go for Bournemouth. Bournemouth to win that one. I'm going to say 3-1. Next, Southampton host Walsall. Walsall will have a chance in this if Southampton go weaker. Walsall coming off a 6-1 win against my lads at the weekend. That we won't talk about that. So they're in fine fettle though in League Two, so they're going to fancy their chances going to Southampton. But Southampton are just they're so on fire at the moment. I think they could become Leicester's closest challengers to the title. I say closest, but I think they're the ones that could sneak up for automatic promotion. They're on fire at the moment, and obviously there's a couple of links between these sides. Obviously, Russell Martin is a Southampton manager, and he used to play for Walsall, but also a great manager of both sides as well, Chris Nicholl, who does not very well, but still loves his football and his family does over there. So apparently the Walsall fans have been calling the game the Chris Nicholl Derby, and obviously a former Grimsby player as well, Chris Nicholl. So it's going to be an interesting game, this. Walsall are going to feel like they can get something and possibly get it, but I'm going to take it on the way Southampton have been scoring freely. I'm going to go for a Southampton win, but like I said, a lot of people will want Walsall to win because of the FA Cup. But I'm going to say a 4-1 win for Southampton against Walsall, but watch me get that very, very wrong. Next, Stephen Schumacher's Stoke hosts Roberto De Zerbi's Brighton and Hove Albion. Again, it all depends on what Brighton do. If Brighton play a full-strength side, I think they'll get the job done. If they do play a few youngsters and mix it up, I think Stoke have got a chance, especially being at Stoke. It depends how serious Brighton take this, but they obviously made the semi-finals last year. I do fancy them to get past Stoke, although Stoke's not an easy place to go. But I fancy them to win 3-1 over Stoke City. But I think it'll be a tough game. Again, it's how the lower teams in against the higher teams, how they start. Can they start well? I fancy Brighton, just for the way they play football. I know they've got a lot of injuries, but just the way they play football may just overrun Stoke. So I'm saying 3-1. Next, Watford up against Chesterfield. Now, this is where an upset could come. Chesterfield doing well in the National League. Watford starting to fight, doing well in the Championship, starting to really do well. But this is one of the games that you have to. I'm going to go for Chesterfield to win this. If there is no replay, I'm going to go for a penalties win for Chesterfield. I think Chesterfield will get through. Scoreline, probably 1-1, and if there's penalties, I think they'll get it. If the penalties aren't there, then I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Chesterfield. I just fancy there to be a surprise, and that could be one of them. As could this. Chelsea host Preston. Now, Preston have had a really, really good season in the Championship. They've waned a little bit the last couple of weeks, but Ryan Lowe is doing some good things. Going to Stamford Bridge, I don't think will intimidate them, because Chelsea are so hit and miss. You don't know if they're going to be good 1 minute or bad the next minute. And even though it is at Stamford Bridge, I think Chelsea will just squeak this. But it wouldn't surprise me if Preston nicked it. But I'm going to go for a Chelsea win. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Chelsea win over Preston North End. But it wouldn't surprise me if Preston went to Chelsea and won. Again, it's how serious Chelsea are going to take the FA Cup, I believe. Middlesbrough against Aston Villa. Well, this is difficult, this. Villa, again, it's all going to be down to how serious they take this. I'm actually going to go for Middlesbrough, of course, the surprise. Will Aston Villa turn up? No idea. I'm going to go for a Middlesbrough win though, because I think, they're in the League Cup semis as well, aren't they? So it's going to be a difficult one. I'm going to go for Middlesbrough narrowly. I'll give you a score line. I'll say I'll say, I'll say 3-1 to Middlesbrough. That's a difficult one. Because again, it all depends on how Aston Villa treat the competition, I think, as to whether the upset happens. But if they do and Middlesbrough do get the win, then credit to Middlesbrough, because they can't decide what the other team's going to do. But Middlesbrough's a tough place to go anyway, so it wouldn't be a massive surprise in my eyes. But I'm going to go for Middlesbrough win there. Sheffield Wednesday hosting Cardiff. No idea. And I say that because Sheffield United have started to pick up. Sheffield Wednesday were on the other side of the city now, Dino. Sheffield Wednesday against Cardiff City. Sheffield Wednesday have definitely started to pick up a few results now that they probably weren't doing before. I think Hillsborough is always a difficult place to go to. Cardiff are hit and miss in the league in general, but with this not being a league game, you never know. I'm going to go for this game to end up a draw. Like I said, I'm going to say 2-2, and if penalties are involved, because I think they've took out the replays, then I'm going to go for Sheffield Wednesday to win on penalties. And the final game on Saturday, we've got another day to go yet. Yes, we do. Well, we've got another day to go after this as well. Swansea City host Morecambe. Now I know that Luke Williams looks like he's been lined up for the manager's job at Swansea. Whether it will be done in time for the game, I don't think it will. But they're going to have a bounce, in the possibility of getting Luke Williams. I fancy them to do quite a job over Morecambe. I fancy them to probably go and win 5-0 against Morecambe. I just got this sort of like, if the Luke Williams rumours are true, I think the players are going to want to really lay down a marker. And I fancy Swansea to win this by 5-0. On Sunday, the FA Cup heads to some cracking games here. Luton Town host Bolton. Bolton Wanderers are flying high in League One. They're a real good side. Luton, being a really competitive team in the Premier League, credit to them really for that. This is a difficult one to pick. I think Bolton are just in the overall form where they could catch Luton out. And even though Luton, Kenilworth Road is a difficult place to go to, I fancy Bolton to do this. I fancy them to go and win at Luton, and I'm going to say a 2-1 win for Bolton. All these games are 2 o'clock kickoffs bar 1. Manchester City is the second game as they host Huddersfield. I can't see anything other than a Huddersfield win. Apparently Erling Haaland is back in training for this, as De Bruyne is not far away either. I'm sorry, Huddersfield fans, I'm not being disrespectful, but I fancy a 5-1 win, I'm going to say, for Manchester City over Huddersfield Town. And if they get a goal, I think they should celebrate that and enjoy that. But I'm saying 5-1. I can't see any other outcome. Prove me wrong, Huddersfield. But next up on Sunday, it's Nottingham Forest against Blackpool. And I said Blackburn, but they're okay. Blackpool. They're really, Forest have started well under Nuno Espirito Santo. But it's I can't see them having much issues against Blackpool. You never know, but I think they've just got that feel-good factor at the City Ground at the moment, and I'm going to go for Nuno to carry it on. I think he'll want it going on. I don't think he'll want to go out to lower league opposition. Blackpool's got a chance. Everybody that has got this has a fighting chance. So I don't want people to think just because I might have said big scores against your side. It's just if you look on paper as to what some teams have got. I'm going to say it's not going to be an easy game for Nottingham Forest. I fancy them to get past Blackpool. I'm going to say a 3-0 win for Forest though. Because again, I think it's down to the first goal. If Blackpool get it, it could be interesting. If Forest get the first goal, I think Forest may run away with it. So, but I'm going to say 3-0 for that. The next game is Peterborough United against Leeds United. Oh, how I would love Peterborough to win this game. As you can probably tell, I'm not a great big Leeds United fan. They are doing well in the Championship though. Peterborough doing fine. Do you know what? I'm going to go for Peterborough to beat Leeds, and it's not through anything personal with Leeds. It's the amount of times I've seen Leeds go to lower league opposition in the FA Cup a few times and not really show up. But Peterborough, again, it's all about hunger for the higher league sides. What's the hunger they've got? Will Leeds underestimate Peterborough? If they do, Peterborough's got enough threats in the side where they could cause it. I'm going to fancy Peterborough to cause an upset against Leeds United. I'm going to say I can't go 0 for Leeds, can I? I'm going to go 4-2 to Peterborough. Why not? I'm going to go 4-2 to Peterborough. The next game is Shrewsbury Town up against Wrexham. Shrewsbury, you never know what you're going to get with Shrewsbury. They're like a box of chocolates at the moment, aren't they? Wrexham, you know, what else can be said about Wrexham? You know, they're doing well in League Two, but they're not dominating League Two, which is, I think that's good to see. You know, they're in the top 3, which you'd expect. Shrewsbury's a difficult place to go, though, so it's not going to be a gimme for them. Do I give Wrexham the win, or do I give Shrewsbury? I'm going to give... The class is an upset. I fancy Shrewsbury just at home. So I'm going to go for a 3-2 win for Shrewsbury, but I do think Shrewsbury will need to score a couple of goals, because Wrexham definitely have goals in the side where Wrexham aren't going to fear going to Shrewsbury for the win. But I'm saying a 3-2 win for Shrewsbury, as they really tore Notts County a good one in the last round. So I fancy Shrewsbury to do it against Wrexham. 3-2 though. Could be a good game that between those two sides. West Brom will face Aldershot. Now, on paper, this should be 5 or 6-0. And this is going to be down to how Aldershot start. Wouldn't it be a great story if Aldershot can get the win over West Brom? This would be the story of the round for me if they could do it. And why couldn't they do it? You know, Tommy Witherington's got them playing some good stuff at Aldershot. It's so easy to say West Brom are going to win this easily. Do you know what? I'm going to go West Brom will get it, but I think I don't think it'll be a gimme. Well, I say a gimme. It's all down to again how serious they take Aldershot, because that's how upsets happen. They don't happen by skill. They happen by where the team is prepared properly. Can I really? Do you know what? I am going to say Aldershot are going to win that. I think do you know what? Why not? Why not really go against the grain here? Rather than keep going favourites all the time, let's go against the grain a little bit. Let's have a good story, shall we? Aldershot Town to go and beat West Brom, and I'm going to say a 2-1 win for Aldershot Town. Yeah, it's just, why not? Just a feel-good FA Cup story again. We always look for those, and there's one of them. And yes, okay, Tommy Widdrington with the Grimsby link for me. But no, seriously, those clubs are what the FA Cup is about. So why can't they go to West Brom and win? We'll see. West Ham host Bristol City. This is more of a 50-50 tie, this. Bristol City doing well under Liam Manning, who took over from Nigel Pearson. He started to find his own niche in there. West Ham, at the London Stadium, they're bound to be favourites. This is more 50-50 than I would say, really. This is a game where Bristol City could win this. They really, really could. Do you know what? I'm going to fancy Bristol City to get the upset here. I really am going to fancy Bristol City to upset West Ham, because I think West Ham will probably have bigger fish to fry in the league, maybe. So that, yes.
Should we tea off here?
Yeah, get me.
Would you order the meatballs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they could. That's a good interruption, wasn't it? I'm going to say that Bristol City will, get the upset against West Ham. I'm saying 2-1 for Bristol City. And Arsenal against Liverpool. I hate to say redundant game, but it really is. Not to the fans, obviously, but it's one of these games, isn't it, that all the media will talk about. Arsenal, Liverpool. To be honest, I don't really care who wins this game. To be honest, I think I'm going to give it to Arsenal though. I think a 2-1. I don't know. This is probably the game that I'm least interested in, really. Where I don't know, and I'm not so. But I'm going to be respectful to both sides, and I'm going to basically say Arsenal, just for being at home, I think may get this. But I'm going to say 2-0 to Arsenal in this, and Wigan against Manchester United finishes the FA Cup fixtures off. Got to fancy Manchester United against Wigan. Wigan are doing okay after the deduction they've had, and even though as poor as Man U's season has been, I think they'll have enough to get past Wigan. I'm going to say a 3-1 win. So I'm saying 3-1 to Manchester United. And that is the prediction for the FA Cup. I love that, a little bit of interference. And as you can tell, I can now go and get my food, as it seems to be about ready to be prepared. We're ready for food, and I will see you guys with a League 2 preview fairly soon, because there is some League 2 games going on over the weekend, so I'll preview those and a National League preview as well. So if you did like this video, do hit like, share, subscribe for me, and I will see you guys very, very soon with another preview video. This is a long one, so hope you guys enjoy it. Bye bye for now. See you soon.